My fiance told me to sign a prenup, but when I read it, it said I owed him half my business if we divorced. When Dylan showed me the prenup papers on a random Thursday night, I almost choked on my leftover Chinese food. He was sitting there casual as anything, scrolling through his phone while I read through 20 pages of legal jargon. My cake decorating business that I'd built from scratch in my tiny apartment kitchen was apparently worth $500,000 according to his lawyer. The part that made my blood boil was right there on page 12. If we ever got divorced, I'd owe him 50% of my business value. I looked up at him, still picking at his sesame chicken. Dylan, what the hell is this? He barely glanced up from his phone. Just standard stuff, babe. My dad's lawyer drew it up. Sign it whenever. Standard stuff. Like I hadn't spent 3 years waking up at 4 a.m. to bake wedding cakes, missing friends' parties to meet deadlines, and turning my savings account into a real business. The next morning, I called my friend Emma, who worked as a paralegal downtown. She read through the whole thing during her lunch break and called me back laughing. This is insane, Jess. He's basically trying to become a silent partner in your business without investing a penny. That's when it hit me. Dylan had never once helped with my business, never stayed up late helping me frost cakes, never driven to supply runs, never even promoted my Instagram page to his friends. I decided to test something. That weekend, I told him I needed help with a huge wedding order. 6-tier cake, 300 cupcakes, the works. He looked at me like I'd asked him to perform surgery. Can't you handle it? I've got plans with the guys, but apparently, he deserved half of everything I'd built. Instead of confronting him, I got creative. I called my lawyer cousin Marcus, who lived 2 states over. He helped me draft a counter prenup that was completely fair. What's mine stays mine, what's his stays his. Anything we build together gets split equally. But I added one tiny clause that Dylan would never read carefully. If either party tried to claim ownership of the other's premarital assets, the prenup would be void, and they'd owe the other person $50,000. I printed it out and left it on the kitchen counter with a note. Here's my version. Sign whenever. Dylan came home from work, saw the papers, and signed them immediately without reading. He actually bragged to his buddy James over beers that night about how easy I was to deal with. She just signed whatever I wanted, he said, loud enough for me to hear from the kitchen. 2 weeks later, I filed the paperwork to dissolve our engagement. Dylan freaked out completely, demanding I honor the prenup and pay him half my business value. That's when I showed him his signed copy of my version with the penalty clause highlighted in bright yellow. His face went completely white as he realized he owed me $50,000 for trying to claim my business. His dad's fancy lawyer called me the next day, furious and threatening to sue. I conference called my cousin Marcus, who calmly explained that Dylan had signed a legally binding contract and they had no case. The lawyer hung up mid-sentence.